Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. If you say drama is an ingredient in politics, you may be right. The intrigues never stops. Yesterday, we got the news of a fresh by PDP. Today, the PDP says it will sanction the splinter group trying to distract the party. The group, a fallout of the December 9th convention of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, declared a parallel national working committee of the party in Abuja, describing the just concluded elective convention as a fraud. Now, the PDP is blaming the APC for trying to inject disagreement and rancor in their party. And I quote from the statement by the party's Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbondiyan. The leadership of the PDP states firmly that we will not allow ourselves to be distracted because we have a task committed to us by Nigerians, which is to unseat the incompetent and corrupt APC, rescue the nation from their clutches, and return our dear country to the path of prosperity and national unity. End of quote. The PDP has now threatened that it will sanction the splinter group. That means that the splinter group may be in trouble, considering what sanction means in the constitution of the PDP. Let's get a sense of what this could mean for the main opposition party that looks so much like maybe have been hit by yet another storm within its ranks. Joining us from Abuja is a regular analyst on the program, a lawyer and a member of the Lincolns in London. Mr. Daniel Bwala joins us on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Bwala, for your time on the program tonight. Before we move into our major issue, weigh in on this one, if you may, please. With what we've seen, it looks so much that the troubles of the PDP may be over after the Supreme Court judgment, but this looks like another trouble is brewing. With this that is happening now, what can you see? Because I remember interviewing you immediately after the convention of the PDP on the issue of the unity list, and that is causing another trouble now.
Right. Thank you for having me. Well, it is clear. In fact, it is sad because the splinter group, it's acting as a prelude for massive defection from PDP to APC, because members will now claim that there is a disunity in the party pursuant to Section 68 of 1G that will take it to another party and still retain their seat. And that is not good for the polity, because we need a viral opposition in a democracy like ours. So I'm not surprised with what has happened. I told you, remember the other time, that the Supreme Court may have decided the leadership of the party, but certainly the Supreme Court has not decided the problem of the party.
Where does the splinter group go from here? It looks like they're protesting what has happened. Where do they go from here when they said, the party has said they will be sanctioned?
Well, some of the comments of the party members are quite, unfortunate when they use very strong words against them. I believe that Seraki Dixon is trying his best to reconcile the various aggrieved parties, and he's doing his effort. But the thing is that any aggrieved party can approach the court. I don't think at the moment the splinter group have legality in law to operate, because the Supreme Court has already decided that the McCarthy-led faction of the PDP that has now culminated in a new executive is the one that is recognized by law. But they have their right to register that new party if they so wish, but they cannot continue to operate as though it is an existing PDP party.
Well, this may be putting you on the spot. The PDP says they see the hand of the ruling party in this trouble. Do you think so?
I think so. I think so. Of course, if PDP is in the shoes of APC, they will do the same. And I think that APC will continue to celebrate the disunity of PDP. And that is why I have said before now that the PDP should really sit down and see that their whole aim will be defeated if they don't reconcile. The unity list, I told you, is a fraud. It has been predetermined, and definitely that will result in a problem. Even now, the thought that Atiku might likely emerge as a candidate of the party is now having another dimension, because now there is an allegation that some people are, rooting for someone else other than him. So really bleak days are ahead, to be honest.
What does that then leave us if the major options between the two major parties? We have about 67 of them, and we see this kind of internal politicking, if I may use that word, and these internal troubles that we see in these political parties.
If PDP wants to take the battle right to the doorstep of APC, what PDP should do what APC did, which is the merger of parties. We have over 64 parties and still counting. If PDP can get 20 parties to come together, they will cover up for the losing of the ground by agreed members of the party that are leaving. And don't also forget, in the coming days, as we approach 2019 election, there are people in APC that are going to be aggrieved and they may defect to PDP, just the same way as people from PDP will defect to APC. But merger will take the battle right to the doorstep of APC.
Interesting days ahead. Let's take a look at this story. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, will be shedding some powers as the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit of the Commission will be financially independent. The plan is for Nigeria to escape the Egmont expulsion. Now, here is a background to this story. The NFIU is the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, an arm of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. It was established in 2004, became fully operational in 2005. Was admitted into the Egmont files in 2007. The Egmont Group is a network of more than 150 member countries. They share information relating to criminal intelligence and financial investigations that deal with money laundering, terrorism financing and proliferation of arms, corruption, financial and economic crimes. The decision to detach the unit started after reports of its suspension from the Egmont Group over Nigeria's failure to provide legal framework that will make the NFIU autonomous. Critics of separating the NFIU from the EFCC says it will weaken the anti-graft agency, which has tackling financial crime as one of its main tasks. Well, let's get the lawyer, Mr. Daniel Bwala, weighing in on these. We're expecting the chairman of the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, Senator Chukwuka Utazi, to join us on the program. But in the meantime, Mr. Bwala, weighing in on this. What effect will this have? Detaching NFIU from the EFCC, it does look like the reality is dawning on the EFCC that NFIU is slipping off its wrist right now.
You see, to be honest with you, I think that the problem here lies in the conflict that the Senate has with the chairman of EFCC. If not, to give autonomy to NFIU is as simple. The Egmont Group's demand is to give autonomy to the NFIU, and they also agree that it can be domiciled in EFCC or any larger entity. If you go to England, their financial intelligence unit is domiciled in NCA, National Crime Agency, which is like the type of EFCC. It's only in America that you have it under the Department of Treasury. So Nigerian Senate are trying to take a cue from America to say they are moving that to central bank. I believe it will defeat the purpose, because when you move it to central bank, don't forget that central bank is one of those agencies or entities that are supposed to report to NFIU. So I think that the best approach is just the amendment of Section 1, Subsection 2, I think E or D of the EFCC, to say that there shall be a body known as NFIU who shall operate with autonomy. That is all that we need, and that is all that is required, so that they can raise their funds, they can operate without the influence of EFCC. But creating another body that the National Assembly is proposing, number one, will bring more problem to Nigeria as a member of the Egmont Group. In fact, it may lead to the expulsion of the group. And then secondly, it will be an unnecessary bureaucracy. They want to give it perpetual cessation. They want to give it a legal personality. When you expose NFIU as a legal personality like that, you're going to have multiple litigation against them, because they are dealing with financial
Mr. Bwala, if we may just pause for a moment, we need to take this break at this time. It's just natural in the program for us to do that. We'll come back, and the chairman of the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, Senator Utazi, is already in our Abuja studio, and we'll talk more on this. Join us again, everyone.
this time around, they are now going to be on their own. They already have an account department that will run their financial independence and independence of the EFCC. But still, they still remain on us and in principle, actually.
You said?
I say we have given them, the system has accorded their financial autonomy. Okay. Yes, and the operational autonomy. Okay. Yes, and administratively they will continue to run their own affairs in the middle of the year.
So they are independent now?
Yeah, autonomous, financially, operationally.
We are asking that everything we want to do now, from this budget presentation towards everything we're going to do, we lay the foundation here. That's going to be a new outfit that are going to employ, that are going to do this and that. 800 million budgeted for this cannot go anywhere in terms of foreign trips. Because if we want to let NFIU go, they have to go with all the requisite expectations, the paraphernalia of the office that can make them to become autonomous.